Well, 2 weeks ago, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to support immigration enforcement and punish local governments that don't comply with federal authorities.
And this includes potentially taking away funding for any city that deems itself a sanctuary city. WENY's Samantha Potter looks into sanctuary communities and the impact Trump's orders could have on students, even here locally.
Nick and Renata, back in 2012, President Obama granted protection to immigrants whose families illegally brought them to the United States as children. But many students are worried about what comes next as the Trump administration decides their fate. Meet Esmeralda Arizon Palomera, a PhD candidate of English at Cornell University. When she was 8 years old, she moved to the United States with her family from Mexico. She's been living under the protection of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or DACA.
The only reason I am in graduate school in Ithaca, one of the reasons is DACA. It made that possible.
The federal government has protected more than 750,000 people from deportation under DACA. On the campaign trail, then candidate Donald Trump talked about ending the program.
Jokes became less and less frequent, and before we knew it, people, myself included, started walking around with a knot in their stomachs, just of dread or something worse that I'm not sure how to describe, but it seemed like something terrible was going to happen.
As the idea of a Trump presidency became more of a reality, that's when the idea of making Cornell a sanctuary campus was on Esmeralda's radar.
Using the term sanctuary can make a difference. It begins by setting the tone at the institution. It reminds everyone that we are all deserving of dignity and respect, that documented or not, we are all important members of this community.
The term sanctuary city or campus has no legal binding, but says a locality won't help the federal government hold undocumented citizens until the deportation process. In Cornell's case, that would mean campus police wouldn't look for undocumented students to turn them into immigration authorities.
I think everybody wants the rule of law to be followed, and they don't like to see lawbreakers be rewarded. But immigration is different. It's not like they broke a criminal law. They just violated our immigration policy and statutes. And if they've contributed to the United States, it's not in the interest of the United States to kick them out.
Right now, there's nearly 70 cities that call themselves sanctuary cities, including Ithaca. Many mayors, including New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, argue targeting undocumented immigrants deters them from reporting crimes in their communities.
This executive order could, in fact, undermine public safety and make our neighborhoods less safe. Firstly, because this executive order could undermine the relationship between our police department and our communities, which has been the foundation of our ability to drive down crime.
Well, I hope that he'll realize that immigrants overall are a net asset to the United States, not a burden.
President Trump has said that he will fine any community deeming itself a sanctuary city.
The federal government doesn't always fully reimburse these localities for the expenses incurred for incarcerating them. So they'd rather just say no to the federal government.
Esmeralda has been a key leader in the campus sanctuary movement. Faculty and students have drafted the petition asking the interim president to declare Cornell a sanctuary.
I think, this is a critical turning point for us, for the entire country. Our nation is being taken apart, one executive order at a time.
Last week, the city of Ithaca passed an ordinance to make the city a sanctuary city. Local Congressman Tom Reed says sanctuary cities are not the right approach.
We should be focusing on the root cause of the problem. It's a border that's not functioning, that needs to be enforced to keep our American citizens safe, so she has a safe environment upon which to thrive and achieve the American dream. So I think if we can adopt that common ground, if we can adopt that vision, we can unite and solve the problem that is the root cause of this, and that's a broken immigration system.
And happening tonight, 3 federal judges will hear arguments on whether to lift a temporary halt on President Trump's executive order on a travel ban. The Ninth Circuit will decide the constitutional limits of the president's immigration powers. Professor Yale Lohr says no matter how they rule, this decision will be historic, and the case is certain to go to the Supreme Court. Reporting in the studio, Samantha Potter, WENY News.